Today's topic is honey on the plate, the sweetness of sensual pleasure and the suffering of craving. We'll be reflecting on two powerful texts from Buddhist canon, the Hannibal Discourse Majjhima Nikaya 18, and the Windeer and the Honeygrad Jataka 14. The members of Group 3 are Venerable Thiện Châu, Venerable Sister Lệ Nguyên, Venerable Sister Thanh Hồng, Mr. Nguyễn Thế Thu, Dharmanim Thiện Hội, Mr. Nguyễn Trọng Lạc, Dharmanim Quảng An. We're honored to have their heartfelt reflection and effort shared with all of you. To begin our session, I would like to kindly introduce Venerable Sister Lệ Nguyên, who will open the presentation with her talk. Let's give her our full attention. Venerable Sister Lệ Nguyên, the screen is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Huang. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lê Nguyên, and I am a member of Group 3. After discussing together, our group had decided to reason the follow topic, honey on the plate, the sweetness of sensual pleasure, of the suffering of craving according to the Majjhima Nikaya. I would now like to begin with the first part of our presentation, the introduction, offering with the image of the reindeer and the honey rising, the question about the danger hidden in sweetness. Firstly, these Dharma friends, today I invite you to enter the forest, not just any forest, but a symbolic one where a delicate creator like the reindeer. This reindeer is not like others. It's a grateful, quiet, and impossibly silent, just the shadow of a human person is running into the forest, never to return again. And yes, it's the Chataka 14 story. Even such a careful, courteous creature was slowly gently blurred into the heart of the king's palace. How? Not by chance, not by fear, but by a symbol's witness. A taste of honey spread on a plate of rice. As first, the deer keep its distance, but the swine keep calling day by day. It returned, little by little. Its fear faded until one day it followed the trail of honey rats grow a certain line path into a place it should never have gone. The door closed, the window were trapped. Secondly, and the king, you must see in this says, even a creator as will uh, and courteous at the craving for taste and this was about us who live among so many temptations. Dear friends, this essence saw it more than fable is a lesson about the mind. It reminds us how even gentle craving can grow wildly until the wild ourselves trapped in the palace we never mean to enter. This isn't just a story about deer, it's a mirror. We to chase after sweetness, a kind words, a pleasant touch, a beautiful sound, a delicious bite, a brief moment of pride. But what's lies behind it? What happens when the sweetness becomes an addiction? The Buddha spoke clearly about it, especially in the Majjhima Nikaya in the discourse called Madhubindika Sutta, the honey-born discourse. There, he encouraged us to reflect on three truths: the gratification we feel when we taste pleasure, the danger hidden inside them, and finally, they escape the way out from the endless craving. So today, in the group 3 presentation, we will walk through that path together. Let us open our hearts and listen, not just with our minds, but with that still honest part of ourselves that knows. Sometimes the sweetness king can be a savage trap. And so we ask ourselves today, what is the honey rush in our life? What sweetness are we chasing? And what is the hidden danger beneath it? Sweetness in itself isn't evil. It can be joy, comfort, pleasure, or success. But when it's become attachment, when we need this to feel okay, we lose our inner freedom. And a timeless question. What is the cause of the sweetness we desire? And now, to guide us into the teaching of the sutta itself, now I would like to invite our second speaker to continue, Venerable Thiện Châu, to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Venerable Lệ Nguyên. Good evening, Venerable monks and nuns and friends. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Thiện Châu. It is a blessing for me to practice English with you. Today, I would like to talk about Madhubindika Sutta. The Madhubindika Sutta explores how to end all disputes and suffering in life. The discourse begins with Buddha encountering Dandapani, a star-piercer in the great woods. Dandapani asks about the Buddha teaching. The Buddha explains that his teaching to prevent disputes and free individual from obsessions, desires, doubts, and craving. Dandapani, however, dismisses this explanation and leaves. Later, the Buddha recounts the encounter to his monks. He explains that all chaplain talks and mental proliferation stem from special causes. If nothing is delighted in welcome or clung to, then desires, anger, wrong views, doubt, pride, and unwholesome actions. The Buddha then retires without further elaboration. Also, the monks sit out Venerable Mahakakana, a wise monk. Mahakakana explains that troubling thoughts arise from the interaction of our six senses: eyes, ears, nose, and tongue, body, mind, with their respective objects. This interaction creates contact, which leads to feelings, then perceptions, then thoughts, and finally, metal proliferation. This proliferation are the roots of our obsession. Conversely, if there's no such a sensory contact, this change breaks and obsession ceases. To end suffering, one must eradicate latent tendency, greed, hatred, delusion, views, doubt, and conscience by not delighting in welcoming or clinging to anything, thereby causing on unwholesome phenomena to cease. The monks relay Mahakakana's explanation to the Buddha. The Buddha confirms Mahakakana's wisdom. Starting, he would have given the same answers. Finally, Venerable Ananda compared the teaching to a sweet honeypot bringing joy. The Buddha agrees, naming the discourse the Madhubhidika Sutra. The name Madhubhidika was suggested by Venerable Ananda and approved with birth by the Buddha, likening the teaching to a sweet honeypot that brings joy and mental comfort. In sense, the Madhubhidika Sutra teach that suffering and conflict originate from our minds getting entangled in thoughts and clinging to sensory experience. To achieve freedom from suffering, one must release the distress and mental attachment by not clinging to anything. Thank you, thank you for your listening, and I would like to invite your three guest speakers to continue. Venerable Lệ Nguyên, please.
Yes. Sincere thanks to Venerable Thiện Châu for the reverse presentation. I will now continue with part 3 of our talk, which is about the three core concepts. The enjoyment, asada; the danger, adivana; the escape, nisarana. Firstly, this Dhamma ran in the Madhubhindika Sutra, the honeypot, because the Buddha gave the brief yet profound teaching, which he then left unexplained. When asked the clarification, the Venerable Mahakachakana offered detailed explanation showing how suffering arises from same contexts. This beautiful illustrates the three core truths we reflect on today: asada, enjoyment; adinava, danger; nisarana, escape. Asada, the enjoyment, is on begin which contest fight between the sense organ, the objects, and consciousness from contest right feeling, then perception, then thinking, and finally conceptual proliferation. This is where enjoyment arrives. We like what we sense, and we begin to chase it. This is the sweetness of the asada, that is when you feel when tasting honey rush. Adivnava, the danger. but with enjoyment come risk. When perception turns into obsession, the mind becomes clouded by babanja, mental proliferation race as Mahakachaka is land. A person becomes the haunted by talk about the past, future, and recent conflicts arise. The danger isn't in the objects, but in our reaction to our clinging. Like the reindeer, we are trapped, not by force, but by craving. Nisarana decay. But the Buddha didn't stop at the danger. He pointed to the cave when the cords are removed. There is a sense organ, no object, and no consciousness. Then contest ceases. Without contest, there is a feeling, no perception, no thinking, and no mental proliferation. This meant that liberation is possible not by rejecting life, but by understanding it clearly. In conclusion, dear Dharma friends, the Madhubindika Sutta shows us how a simple contest can lead to suffering or freedom. Asada is the sweetness of experience. Adinava is the suffering that follows when we cling. Nisarana is the freedom we find when we understand and let go. May we enjoy life mindfully, see clearly, and walk the path of the freedom. Thank you for your listening. Now, I would like to respectfully invite the next member of our group, Venerable Thanh Hồng, to continue our presentation.
Thank you very Venerable Lê Nguyên. I continue our speak. Good evening, Venerable Sangha and Dharma friends. I introduce myself. My name is Thanh Hồng, one of the members of Group 3. This evening, we humbly share with you a story from the Charagata tale, The Reindeer and Holy Glass, and how I self-reflect on how this narrative relates to the cultivation of the mind on spiritual path. Firstly, do not be bound by attachment internal condition. This story reminds us not to be too attached our present companion or habitual surrounding. On phenomena are informants and constantly changing, linking and familiar limits our vision and insight. For example, the turtle and the fish. In that tale, the fish denied the existence of the island. Having never seen it, the turtle randomly explained that lack of inference not to equate to non-existence. If the wild deer had ignored more widely, like the turtle, it may not have fallen into the trap of the gardener. True wisdom is boundless, but our standing is limited. The liberating subject wisdom is infinite, yes, the conceptual mind of ordinary being remain confined. The spirit of learning is exploration and expansion of college of vital the development of spiritual and intellectual maturity did achieve through the threefold training, water, condition, and wisdom, along with diligent study of the capture and meditative and contemplation. Secondly, protecting of six sense faculties, intellectual cultivation guarding the six sense base in the fundamental practice, without vigilant on effort may be a way, just as the windeer a inherent due to its raving to the weakness of the honey glass. In the Mahina Gamata Sutta No 1167, the lexic one taught us the Mara is oral vigilant seeking a fortitude through the sixth sense door, eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. The inter-earth into attachment to forms, sounds, smells, states, doctrine, and mental impressions. Hence, the Buddha advised bhikkhu be never mindful of getting the doors of the even senses when the one goes of the train of faculty. Even when encouraging object, Mara will find no foothold. Thirdly, the wish often conceals great danger. Until thus be lessened and weak, where the honey glass or sensual delusion may lead to suffering. Thus, we must remember the teachings. Eat to live, but do not live to eat. A renunciant will cultivate a few desires and contentments, abiding in simplicity and stillness of the heart. The state of the windier, the honey glass, reserve the mirror for reflection. Do not allow the mind to become the confined by narrow attachments. Only guard the sixth sense faculty with vigilance. Steer away the weakness of desire and lingering. Instead, let us live with few desire, revel in contentment, follow according with condition, and derive upon the three meaning, virtue, concentration, and wisdom, to teach truth peace until liberation. Thank you very much for your attention. I would like Madam, my friend, Mr. Thiện Hội, to continue our speech. My speak is the end here.
Thank you, Venerable Sister Thanh Hồng. Yeah. Good evening, Venerables and Dharma friends. Today, I would like to invite us into a reflection, not just an intellectual one, but one we can actually live alive. The topic I take responsibility presenting today is mindful reflection on sensation to avoid falling into craving, cleansing, and becoming. We already explored the symbolic depth of the windy parable and the profound qualitative dynamics in the honeypot discourse. Now we bring its own back to where it truly matters, our daily life. Because wisdom only becomes real when it's embodied, or when it applies moment to moment in the every fabric of our experience. Let's begin by asking a very human question. How do we avoid getting caught in craving, cleansing, and the cycle of becoming? This is where teaching of the Windmere and the Honeypot discourse offer practical guidance. They remind us it's not about escaping life, but living it with wisdom, not rejecting sensation, but meeting them with clarity and freedom. Because only when we live the Dharma in each moment that it truly transforms us. Now, let's look deeper into how suffering arises. According to the Honeypot discourse, suffering does not come from the sensation itself. It comes from our mind's conditioned reaction to it. There's a clear chain here. Contact leads to feeling. From feeling leads to perception. And from perception leads to thought. And to proliferation. This isn't just a theory. It's a precise map, a step-by-step insight into how dukkha begins, and more importantly, how can we seize? So, what does it look like in real life? Let's take a few simple examples. When someone praises us, praise us, we feel good. That's natural. But the unchained mind quickly goes, I want more of this. It means we cling to it. And when that praise fades, as it's always there, we feel disappointed or even hurt. Or take a pleasant image online. The mind wants it, grab at it, but when it's gone, the craving remains. What we see here is not that sensations are the problem. Not. The problem lies on our reactivity, the habit of clinging and aversion. This is why the Buddha talks us to meet every sensation with mindfulness and clear comprehension. This breaks the chain right where it begins. So how do we actually practice this? The beauty of this teaching is that we don't need to live in a monastery to apply it. In our everyday life, we can bring this reflection into small, yet powerful moments. When scrolling through social media and a desire arises, we notice it, we smile at it, and we don't feed it. When someone praises us, we feel the pleasantness, but we don't inflate the ego. Or when we face loss disappointment, we gently remind ourselves, oh, this is impermanent. It's not about rejecting life, but meeting it differently. When present and understanding, this shift transforms ordinary experience into opportunities for awakening. Let's come back to our metaphor, the reindeer. The reindeers do not chase every sweet scent it catches in the air. It moves with quiet wisdom and discernment, unshaken, serene. In the same way, we contemplative learns to live not by grabbing, but by knowing, not by running towards or away, but by standing still, aware, present, and free. So we leave you with this reflection. Each sensation is a doorway. We may choose a step into craving or open the gate of liberation. Thank you for the listening. And now I would like to introduce layman Quang An. Yes, continue for the conclusion. Thank you for the attention again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thiện Hội. I am Quang An, and now I'm going to conclude our presentation. So in our presentation, we emphasized two aspects that is very important. The first aspect is the sweet trap of sensual pleasure. Next slide, please. So the story of the green deer and honeygrass, as well as the honeybone discourse, offer a very profound reflection on the seductive power of sensual pleasure and the suffering that arises from craving. So what begins as a harmless pleasure becomes an irresistible craving and leads to a deeper and deeper captivity. This story is a mirror for our own lives. The things that we find sweet, for example, sensual pleasures, praise, or comfort, may become the very chains for us. The second aspect is understanding suffering and finding freedom. Firstly, in the Honeycomb Discourse, the Buddha points to the root of suffering is that the process by which contact with present objects leads to feeling, perception, thought, and ultimately to attachment. But when we see through the illusion of dissatisfaction in sensual pleasures and we cease to cling, then the cycle of suffering is ended. Second point, the teaching also encourages us to develop an awareness that sensual pleasures are not evil, but attachment to them leads to suffering. The Buddha's path is not to call to reject joy, but to discover a deeper and a more stable happiness that is not dependent on external conditions. So, as we reflect on these teachings, we are invited to ask ourselves two questions. First, what are the honey grasses in our own lives? And second question, where we have mistaken sweetness for safety and allowed craving to lead us into suffering. Regarding the first question, I think you have some answers for yourself, but let me share with you my experience. I think there were so many honey grasses in my life. For example, the moments of sensual pleasure like delicious food, physical comfort, music, or beauty. There were also moments of emotion rewards like praise, admiration, affection, status, or validation. There were also modern equivalents like the likes by people on social media, the compelling entertainment, and desire for luxury or personal image. How about the second question? Where have we mistaken sweetness for safety and allowed craving to lead us to suffering? I think there are many. For example, when we believe pleasure guarantees well-being or safety, or when we cling to relationships, to achievements, or experiences to feel complete or secure, or when we pursue success or recognition obsessively and think they can satisfy our deeper need, or when we react to praise or criticism with emotional highs and lows, showing how tightly we are bound to external validation. How about the way we can move forward? So, as the Buddha taught, it is through mindful awareness, through renunciation of attachment, and through the aspiration toward liberation. And if we fulfill these three elements, we can achieve a freedom that is not the absence of pleasure, but a freedom that is with the presence of wisdom and peace. So, in closing, may we all learn from the windy story and the Buddha's words to enjoy the sweetness of life without becoming trapped by it, and to walk the path of liberation with clarity, courage, and compassion. That concludes our presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Group 3. That concludes the full presentation from Group 3. Thank you all for your efforts and insights. Now we move on to the next part of the session. First, we'll read the questions submitted by the other groups. Group 3, please listen carefully and prepare to respond. The first question is, how can we distinguish between wholesome joy and indulgence that leads us to sensual craving. Is the boundary between them always so delicate?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yeah, for this question, I would like to introduce Venerable Sister Lệ Nguyên. Yeah, the answer in the past three, that's the preparation. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for your ask about this. So the questions are very nice. But the first I want to talk about this question. The first I want to talk about I explain about this distinguish his between wholesome joy in indulgence that leads to a raving. In my opinion, wholesome joy of carbon from skillful rules in accompanied by mindfulness and non-attachment is arise naturally when the mind is freedom from greed, hatred, and delusions, such as the joy from generally meditation or simply appreciating beauty without clinging. This type of joy brings calm, clarity, and inner balance. Uh, in contrast, in judgment, pleasure is rooted in the sensual craving, often followed by restlessness, desire for repentance, or sorrow when it ends. It seeks to possess, previous the experience. The more we chase it, the more unsatisfied we become. The Buddha taught that we must observe not just the feeling but also the mental movement that follow. This joy leave me lighter or more entangled. That reflection can help us recognize the difference. The second, I want to answer about the boundary between the on-way the implicates. Yes, the boundaries can be very subtle, especially when we objects of pleasure appear harmless or even noble. A beautiful sound, a gentle touch, or the meaningful conversation may seem innocent, innocent. Yes, we are not mindful. Even they can turn into attachment, possessiveness, or craving. However, with the cultivation of mindfulness and Yoniso it means why attention. The boundary become clearer. We begin to notice the shift when appreciation become grasping, when reason turn into rejection, when joy begin to demand more. So while we boundary may seem delicate at first, it's become clearer as a depend our inner awareness. The past isn't about suppressing joy, but about knowing its nature. But letting it arise and pass with the clinging to rhythm lie not in avoiding pleasure, but in understand it completely. This is my answer for the question. Uh,
Thank you.
Lee, for your thoughtful answer. We now move on to the second questions for you. Please listen carefully. The second
yes,
question is,
Excuse me. Let me as members of our group, Venerable Thiện Châu, do you have any supplement for the answer from Venerable Sister Lệ Nguyên? Yeah.
Wholesome joy stem from skillful actions and positive states, bringing inner peace and lasting well-being without attachment. I feel light and uplifting sensual craving. However, is driven by an insatiable thirst for temporary sensory pleasures, leading to dissatisfaction and constant need for more. It involves clinging and often leaves one feeling empty. The boundary can be delicate in it only explore involve pleasure. However, the key distinction lies in clinging and long-term effects. Wholesome joy allow for natural passing, fostering freedom. Sensual craving creates a cycle of wanting, blending one to suffering, with mindful distinction become clear. I'm finished.
Yes, thank you, Venerable Thiện Châu.
Yes.
We just got a question from Thúy Nguyễn Thu Thúy. Yeah. She asked us, thank you for the presentation. The topic is interesting. And I have a question. Oh, Miss Thúy, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Could you ask a question here? Speak. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. The topic is interesting. I have a question for your group. If I experience disappointment, how can you help me avoid falling into sorrow? How can I do it?
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you.
thank you for your question. Yeah, for this question, I will answer is according to our presentation. Yeah, the answer already in my part. Yeah, so I take responsible to answer your question. Yeah, in the face of loss or disappointment, mindful reflection reminds us of impermanence. Yeah. Uh, Rather than resisting or lamenting, we can pause and gently say to ourselves, "Oh, this impermanent." Yeah, this phrase serves as a short anchor to reality, helping us witness the feeling without being overwhelmed by it. We observe the sensation, not which co-detachment, but which corrects us, presence and compassion. This practice allows us to feel deeply without drowning in reactivity, thus transforming suffering into a doorway to liberation. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Do you have any other question? Mr. Đại Hoàng. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for your question answer. And the third question is, what if I feel a strong desire while scrolling through social media? How should I respond mindfully according to the Dharma?
Okay. Thank you for your question again. Yeah, it's so interesting question. And as we meet our lives, our daily lives every day, and this question, let me answer this because it also is my responsibilities presentation today. According to my opinion, if your strong desires arise while scrolling through the social media, the mindful response is not to suppress it, but to recognize it clearly and gently. We can eternally smile at the arising, smile at the arising of craving, seeing it as a conditioned mental reaction, not as a shell, not a self. Instead of fitting the design or identify with it, we pause and reflect. Is this image truly fulfilling? When this desire bring freedom or bondage? Yeah. In doing so, I think we choose awareness over impulsive reaction and gradually loosen the grip of craving. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Do you have any other question? I think here has Chung Yi, Venerable Chung Yi. If possible, could all of us open our cameras for interaction, face-to-face interaction. Yeah, this is my group is the first team. Yeah, in group 3, but the first team present today. So I think we have a lot of problem, and please advise us. Yeah, for the preparation, the lecture for the lecture topic.
We noticed that Venerable Tai Phong is present with us in today's presentation. Venerable, we would be honored to be here, your reflections and any feedback you may have for our presentation.
He's staying here. Venerable Tai Phong.
Hello, everyone. I have heard you. Your present is very good, and first of all, I would like to thank the group 3 for your wonderful presentation. And let's say I want to also thank all of the listeners who are staying here to listen to all of you. And I have 2 feedback for you. The positive feedback and the general one. The first of all, I would like to say that your presentation was truly wonderful. I see MC. He speak English very fluently and clearly. The good one. MC Mr. Hoàng. And the second, Lệ Nguyên, right? Her voice was sweet and her story was truly interesting to all us. And I see Venerable Thiện Châu he's my friend. His voice was warm. He has a warm voice too, and very clear pronunciation. Make us truly understand the story what he want to share. And the fourth is the nun Thanh Hồng, right? I see she has a very good voice too. She's impressed with her wonderful voice and the ways she tells the story is very emphasize exactly what she want to tell us. And Thiện Hội finally is the five one, right? Is one the best of time, the good leader that I have ever known before. His English skill is just excellent, right? Thiện Hội, you have the excellent voice. Nothing more to say.
No. It's not just.
And Quảng An, right? Quảng
Yeah,
An.
Quảng.
He's also excellent presenter, right? Presenter. He has a clear speak. The way he speak, the ways he's emphasize, make us truly understand what he want to message. Yeah. He handle his presentation confident and professional. Consideration, and I hope we will cooperate for more and more. That's all for the positive feedback. All of them are so good, so very good, very nice tonight. And my general feedback, we have two things. The first, the strengthening, and the second is the what we lack up. The trend, first of all, we have 5 trends that I just find out. First one, your own theme voice is very clear and pleasant to the listener, right? And the second one, you choose the meaningful and good topic that reflect to us, right? That make us study much about your topic. I mean, your topic is very good to us. I learned from that. I learned many stories from the Buddha, and I can learn something that help us. And the third one, let's see, your team so tries. Yes, so tries. I mean, you have higher level effort in the presentation tonight. Your team, I see that your team try so very much. Your teamwork seem, yeah, your teamwork is very good. And how about your answer? When you answer the question, I don't know how you answer so successfully and overcome and challenge with the difficult and unexpected questions. Like suddenly they give you guys some questions so unexpected, and you had answered them so quickly and impressible. So congratulations. Your guys work very hard tonight. And here the second thing I want to give you feedback about what we lack of. Area for the improvement. First, I see you lack of connected to the audience. I mean that during you speaking, you don't have much eye contact or body language, or give some suddenly question to the audience so that, or you pick one of them to answer your questions. I mean, you lack of the interactions with audience. That's the one of the lack you got. You have to see this point. The second is you give me a lot of information. I mean that you give me much information, that you speak too much information, give too much information that I see all of us cannot hear, cannot recognize what you read on. That means that I just get some point of view. Even though you try to speak more, you try to give me more, you try to message us more, but you give me, the more you give me, the more I don't understand all. So that the second point that you lack of, it means that you give us so much information. That is, you lack of perception, you lack of perception of power. The third one, you need manage your time when you answer your questions. When you answer the questions, try to make it very, very clear, and try to make it very simple that other can understand what you want to speak to. Don't try to read. That is what's my feedback to you, right? However, you all are very good tonight. I just give you three collection, three improvement, but you have 5 strength. It means 5 good and 3 bad. So try the best. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Venerable Taifong. Very
Yes.
yeah. Thank you so much. You gave us so many good feedback. Thank
Yeah.
you. We truly appreciate that. Well, this feedback, these comments are very valuable for us to
Yeah.
improve in our next presentation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I see Minh Hiếu here, right? So I want to hear Minh Hiếu voice. I don't know if he has any idea tonight.
Minh Hiếu is English teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, and I think he's very good in feedback.
Yeah, we will learn a lot from him. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Venerable Taifong.
So,
Yeah.
Minh Hiếu, you try?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, Venerable and friends, other Buddhists. Well, I don't really get the meaning of the story, the topic that you have been presenting, which is really interesting for me. But I have to say that I must learn more about the teaching of Buddha, and the difficult terms that I don't really understand what it means, but I try to catch up your presentation. But the one point to add on what Venerable Taifong just share with you guys, I think I think when you guys present, please don't try to look at the script, even though you have already prepared the script. And then try to remember the key points that you're going to deliver in your speech. And each point, try to explain. You can memorize. You can memorize what you have prepared, but don't try to look at the script. It's like it sounds like you guys are reading. And then also, I think when it comes to as also Venerable Taifung as mentioned, already mentioned that when you guys present, please give a little interaction with the audience, because they are the listeners who are listening to your presentation. That shows two ways communication as well. So one way you give the presentation, and in this case, it talks about the teaching of Buddha based on the story. I mean, and then in the other way, the audience may maybe giving you some interaction if you give them interaction, right? So in the whole spectrum, you can see that people are really interacting to each other when we do presentation. I also see that you guys have the outline here, but I may give you an example. So let's give a little bit of more energy when you start presentations, something like this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation today. In today's topic, we're going to talk about such and such. So that's how you start. And then during the presentation, you can say, well, first up, I would like to introduce our team members. Who is talking about what, and then start the presentation one person by one person, and then each person should give stronger interactions, as I mentioned, as also Venerable Teifo mentioned. And then what else? Let me think. Yeah, I think that's all. But because you guys prepared the content of the presentation, you know what is me, what is the content for the presentation, and you know what, you truly know the meaning. So try to not read the script, and try to think the words that you remember from the presentation, and give answers and give answer. So that's all I can share with you guys. I can give you an example like this. For the question, let's say question one, right? Is that question one? The distinguish between wholesome joy and indulgence by examining the intention, awareness, and effect behind the experience. So if someone gives the answer for this question, you can say, well, thank you so much for giving us this question. We really truly appreciate your time to think about this question and ask our group. So I will be representing the group to give you the answer. And also I would like to listen to other ideas from other people, something like that. So then you can say awesome joy, blah, 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 arises from generosity, mindfulness, compassion, or spiritual practice, something like that. And in contrast, so try to use different words and try to flexibly deliver the answers in an engaging way. Right? So in contract, indulgence often comes from grasping, clinging, or a desire to repeat their experience. It leads to sense of craving, a hunger that is never truly satisfied, something like that. So I can give an example how you present and how you give the answers to the person, to the people who are asking you the question, and also encourage the listener to engage and give more ideas. So then you can create an atmosphere where people have the opportunity to listen, to speak, and to interact. I think. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minh Hiếu, for your very detailed and thoughtful comment and feedback. So on behalf of Group 3, we would like to express our sincere thanks to your comments and feedback. Those comments and feedback are actually very, very valuable for us to improve our presentation the next time. So both Venerable Taifong and Mr. Minh Hiếu emphasize the need to interact with the audience. We will try to do better next time. And next time we will be also put more of our energy on that and try to communicate our ideas more clearly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. One more point I would like to add. I would like to add on. Is that if in a group, if there is one person who is better than others in one group, please help others to improve their pronunciation as well. Because when it comes to speaking, it's part of accent which is different, and not everyone born with a it's not everyone born with a great accent. So put that aside, but at least there should be a correct pronunciation. So you have to train others in your group in order to make them feel like they belong to this group, and they feel like, okay, we have you as a team member in our group, and we will help you to improve your pronunciation. So I see Mr. Wang, and here you have a good pronunciation in compared to others in your team. I wish that you could have share your strategies or your tips on improving pronunciation, so then others, other team members in your group will have the opportunity to learn with you, and to be, to have the opportunity to improve English. Because when it comes to speaking English, we have to make people understand that what we are talking about. And in order to do that, we have to have good pronunciation. Otherwise, people don't understand what we are talking about. So I can see that Mr. Wang and you have good pronunciation. So I hope that you can have your other team members, so then they can learn from you, and you can share knowledge with them. You can share some tips on improving English pronunciation, so every word they speak is clear, so then people understand the whole story, something like that. So that's the last point I could add on. Thank you.
Thank you for the last point, but it was a very important point. Actually, I have never thought that my English pronunciation is good. I always thought it was bad. I'm sorry. However, I can see that all of the group members have been, had been trying very much to learn to pronounce. Yes, actually, we practiced this presentation 2 or 3 times before, and I can see that each member did try their very best to improve their pronunciation. However, we understand that there are still many words that we mispronounced, and yes, we will try to improve our pronunciation next time, and I will try my best to help to share my experience with other members as well in improving pronunciation, although my English is not so good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, your English is great. As I said, apart from accent, not everyone is born with a great accent. Like, okay, me, I'm lucky enough to have good accent, but pronunciation should be correct. Because when you know that when we speak English, the word to be spoken in the correct way, so then people will understand. So just that's a good point. But your English is great. That's my accomplishment for you. So thank you for the presentation. Really appreciate for having me. And I hope that I can have more time to join for the next presentation.
Thank you very much.
We sincerely thank you, Venerable Taifong and Mr. Nguyễn Minh Hiếu, for your insightful comments and presentations.